Joe Caviston, the man of many hats. Welcome back to the Popko Project Podcast. What's up?
Not much. We're 2 weeks out from a big weekend, so busy,
Yeah.
but I always have time for you, John.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into, your origin story. We kind of did that on episode 150 about a year ago. You kind of did not kind of, you did a podcast with the boys, the Mixing Mindsets podcast. So if you want to hear the origin story of Joe Caviston, you can go to episode 150 of the Popko Project or check out Mixing Mindsets with Eric and Andrew, a couple of good guys in the scene. So I
Yeah,
don't
great,
want to,
great
yeah,
guys.
I don't want to get into your origin story. I know your origin story.
Yeah,
I've heard it.
cool.
My listeners heard it. If there's new listeners, go to those episodes, check it out there.
Yeah,
But
I'll definitely go back to 150 and check it out.
yeah, I want to talk to you. I mean, like you said, you just referenced a big weekend coming up where it's the 11th annual Electric City Music Conference, September 12th, 13th, 14th, downtown Scranton. And I feel like, and it's weird, I feel like this year has a certain kind of um vibe to it already, almost like bigger than the 10th annual. You talk about, 10th annual, it's a big milestone. Maybe there's a lot of bells and whistles there, but I feel like this year is bigger than that already.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 10 year there was a more of an emphasis on just like reflection and looking back on what we've done, kind of, not not innovating, but kind of focusing in, honing things. There's a lot of change just in venues and everything that was going on in the city of Scranton, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, leading up to the 10 year. So we were just kind of finding our footing again, but we have some new venues this year. We have some really cool headliners. People are really kind of buzzing about it right now, which is cool. Cool to see online and super excited about it and looking forward to it. But I don't know, I guess bigger is a good word, but kind of more focused marketing approach, um, things like that. Not necessarily. I don't know if size bigger, but a couple extra venues and things this year.
Yeah, it just the feeling. Maybe it's just the online marketing and people involved, and them sharing things. And obviously, the Ritz is a new venue, and that's kind of a big deal this year. But talk about. I mean, at least the conference in general. I don't mind talking about that um, again because it's a big deal. It's a big weekend in Scranton. It's a weekend that I tell my wife. I have her block off the schedule because I said I'm going this weekend. I'm going to the awards. I'm going to see, guys I know, girls I know, um, and hopefully, bands that I've never seen before. So talk a little bit about the conference itself.
Yeah, so like you said, it's the 11th year. Downtown Scranton. We have 8 different venues this year, about 115 bands playing. We kick off every Electric City Music Conference with the Steamtown Music Awards at the V Spot. We'll give out 35 awards. We'll have live performances, red carpet interviews, whole 9 yards, celebrate the best of Northeast PA music. That kind of leads us into the Electric City Music Conference, which is 2 days of music and education. So we'll have a ton of showcases throughout the city, bands from all over the country playing. And during the day, we have educational conferences and our panels and conversations and different workshops that take place. Those are 100% free to all attendees and the public. Anybody that wants to come and learn, that's kind of our way to give back and make those free for everybody.
Um, what might be different this year? I feel like was the conference part of the that carnival last year as well? Because I know you guys try to do a combination thing in the last couple years. I don't think that's coming back this year, so you're kind of on your own in that sense.
Yep. So, and that definitely was something the last 2 years that we tried to incorporate. The Northeast PA Fair
That's it.
was put on in Dixon City, and they were good friends of ours that were organizing that. So we supplied the entertainment and helped kind of book up there. 2 years ago, we did the conference, like the actual panels up there. Last year, we had moved them back to the city already and just did the music up there and kind of helped support and cross market those guys did a great job. I know it's not coming back this year. It might come back in the future, but we're not they're not doing it this year, so we're not partnering. Everything's kind of more centered and focused in downtown Scranton again.
understand and appreciate the, trying to tie that event in together and kind of make it a big deal, right? I mean, NEPA constantly people say nothing to do here, and we constantly say, well, you're wrong.
Yeah, there's so much to do.
But I mean, I feel like it didn't hurt you at all, but it did kind of spread you out more. And now I feel like it's a bigger focus directly in the downtown. I think maybe the V spot might be like the furthest venue, so to speak.
It would be the V spot's the only one that you can't walk to.
Yeah.
Everything else, the other seven venues are all, you know, within a 10-minute walk from each other. Most of them are like 5 minutes. Maybe if you're walking from the furthest one to the furthest one, maybe about a 10-minute walk, but they're all within a 5 block radius
Yeah.
of the exact downtown. If you're in Courthouse Square, the furthest you're walking is the Steamtown Mall for the two all age stages. The and the free stage that we've partnered with the marketplace at Steamtown to put on this year at Center Court.
And that's new venue.
Yes. Yep. So Center Court is new this year. We worked with the Shake Space last year to bring an all age venue back into the conference, which is great to give some of the younger bands or bands with a younger audience a chance to play. And those guys are amazing to work with. I love the mission of the Shakes Place. It's basically a fundraising arm and owned by the Scranton Shakespeare Festival, and they're a nonprofit that puts on that festival. So we partner with them, and all proceeds from that room go directly back to them. We donate 100% of the proceeds from that room to the Scranton Shakespeare Festival to help them put on their festival every year. And they came to us and they said, "Hey, like there's a stage at Center Court. Would you guys be interested in partnering with the mall or well the marketplace now?" And started the conversation. Everybody was super cool about it, and it just seemed like a no-brainer. There's a stage there. It's a big hollow room, so it's not going to take a lot of sound. Put some family-friendly acoustic-ish music in there, and I think it'll be great to draw awareness then because it's an early stage, so it can kind of build awareness for all the other stages going on by putting some marketing materials out there and stuff.
That's an interesting like venue, like in general. I mean, the mall has really transformed over the years into its current what it looks like now. John Basiliga, a huge champion for the growth of Scranton and its surrounding areas. I'm interested to see how that space in general is going to play out. I mean, you have Geisinger in there. It's not, your standard mall anymore. It's very I don't know what to call it.
It's a marketplace.
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
that's a good name. How about that?
Yeah, it's a marketplace. No, I mean it's neat. There's a college, campus in there.
Right.
The aquarium does great. Where the stage is right in front of the aquarium, and you have the gym. There's different things in there, and what the way we kind of set up the stage was staggering the times between that and the shake space, so people can kind of bounce in between them and not miss anybody, which will be good. And I've seen a couple people just like my kid loves the aquarium, and like before we started this, I had to go turn my fish tank off. We're big fish tank people, so we like to go in there and see the fish. So every time we're there, kind of on a Saturday or something, there's somebody playing in there anyway. So it was kind of neat the way they do it. They put out chairs, and there's always a handful of people there anyway. So if we put some marketing behind it and kind of bring some more people in, hopefully it helps the businesses in there, kind of trickles over, and we'll see how it goes. I
Yeah.
think it's neat just to be able to offer a free stage. In the ideal world, if the economy was booming and everything, the plan for the music conference has always been if we can find the sponsorship to make it a free event everywhere, so that it's free everywhere and people can just kind of go and that it funds itself. There's stages like outside throughout town. We're just not there yet, but hopefully, in the next couple of years we can get to that point.
How important and how have sponsors helped you and how has that grown over the years? I know you have a few new ones this year.
Yeah, it's been great. Sponsors are always it's a huge part of what we do because I mean this isn't a money making event. it's more of an event to raise awareness because we do so much in music throughout the rest of the year. So it's good to get exposure to bands, to make connections, to do all of that, to invigorate the scene, let people know things are going on, raise awareness about everything. It'll it conferences are never a money making event. It's a way to give back to the community and try to create awareness around the fact that there are these amazing bands, that there are these great events that happen, constantly, and that you could go see them. If you could all concentrate into one weekend, it kind of carries over for a couple months after. But sponsors make it possible. We have a lot of great sponsors this year. Obviously, Fuzz, which we're super excited about. Axelrad's on board. Very excited about that. Matt Kessler Productions with sound. Like, we couldn't do this event if Matt wasn't a sponsor. With the cost of sound and everything, he cuts us great deals and makes it affordable for us. And our media sponsors, obviously, Northeast PA Scene and everybody that's on board. Keith with 1120. So the sponsors, they come and go. There's times where, I mean, a lot of people have sponsored us just aren't around anymore or have pivoted their business model. But we appreciate everybody that's ever sponsored throughout the years. It's never able to do it without them.
And I want to call you out really quick. You say it's not a money making event, but you do make enough money to get an order of fries from the Glider Diner.
Gravy fries, split. Yeah, it's
So don't 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 sugarcoat it here.
we've since pivoted to the Waffle House.
Okay.
I think you were you there with us? The
Mm-mm.
the so the new move is, I kind of have a rallying point. Anybody that makes it through the whole weekend, I have them meet me at the Waffle House. So we
Uh,
Jeremy Weiss from CI Records actually just sent me a text message today, and he's like, "Are you ready for the conference?" And it was like a picture of he, myself, Lou Palia, who's like an A&R rep for a couple of record labels, manages Deadlands. Um, I think I'm trying to remember who else was there, but a bunch of like the industry professionals that came for the whole weekend, and Gus the Savage at Waffle House 2 years ago at the end of the conference. And I'll never forget sitting there waiting for Lou, and Gus somehow convinced him to ride with him. I just kept seeing them drive by the Waffle House like repeatedly, and Lou's like text me, he's like, "I think I've been kidnapped." He's like, "This is the most persistent rapper ever. He's just playing his music for me and keeps driving by the Waffle House saying we'll go in a minute." So Gus got his album heard,
that's
and
Gus.
yep, and Lou got some waffles afterwards. But so the Waffle House is the new move.
Okay.
Just because the glider wasn't open 24 hours for a couple years there, so we made a pivot.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, and talk about that too, because it's not just, you and there's a lot of panels. I know the guys from Mixing Mindsets are doing kind of live podcasts or moderations and things like that. I know Zach Kelsch, who's like big in the scene, even outside of this area, is doing a panel. But like you also pull in people from out of the area, Jeremy Weiss, CI Records. Like, how important is that involvement to this conference?
So I try to tell the bands like the most important part of the conference are the panels, the mixers, the connections, excuse me, the networking that you're going to do. Your performance slot, you should give it your all and have, the best show you could ever put on, but there's a showcase of 30 minutes, right? So that's going to get you so far, but connecting with somebody like a Lou Palia, a Jeremy Weiss, like we've had Eva Fada there. We've had so many people throughout the years that come in, and a lot of people come in. Like, I have promoter friends from all over the state and the Northeast that come in and they bounce around, they look at the talent and stuff. They may not speak on a panel, but there's a ton of smaller record labels, people that come into town and kind of bounce around that don't even speak on the panels, but you have the chance to meet because they have a different badge and you're able to identify them. So that's the most important part of the whole weekend, is connecting with the industry professionals that are there. That can go a lot farther. Like that, the Magwas met Jeremy, and that's how they got signed to CI Records. And at one point he had signed. There was another young band that he met at the conference 2 years ago that got signed. I can't think of the name of them right now, but they're still like developing and recording and stuff. So that's the more important part. And we have a great lineup this year, and we're trying it a little different. We're doing more conversations this year, pivoting away from the panel. I just felt like there's so many people that have so much to offer, and I speak on a lot of panels and it's great, but maybe you get like, you know, 30 seconds of a person as opposed to really getting the in-depth talk. So this year we're gonna do a couple panels in the beginning and then the long form conversations with question and answer afterwards.
Yeah. I did an interview with the Magwas, and I had some great ideas about how to pull them from CI records, and tried calling Jeremy out a few times. He just wouldn't engage.
So Jeremy, I didn't know you could do this. You can apparently like I could change my name in your phone, I guess, if we both have iPhones. Like what I'm in your phone as, like instead of Joe Caviston, I could like change that.
Okay.
And I didn't know you could do that. And the other day I was sitting there and he just changed his name in my phone to Jeremy Delicious Weiss. And I was just like, okay. I like text him, like, do you need something? He's like, no, I just thought you'd want to know what my new nickname is. I was like, all
Okay.
right, delicious, thanks. So
Yeah.
just try that. Put them in your phone and like change it to start changing
Yeah.
names.
Well,
That's it.
I tried calling him on Facebook. So just like I cut up the interview into some clips, and I was like, here's what how it's gonna happen. And he just didn't engage.
Busy guy.
He didn't appreciate my effort, I guess.
Got a bunch of kids going to college this year. He's been all over dropping them off, I think.
Well, my idea was to capitalize on the whole T Swift movement and have each one of them do um a cover, like have each band member pick a cover to do.
Ooh. Or an era. They could each do an era.
Well, so it would have been like, let's say it was Welcome to New York. It'd be Brandon's version,
I like it.
you know? And I
I
don't know.
assume I'm just gonna assume that CI avoided that conversation for the licensing right costs that
Yeah,
would take.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've never tried to license a Taylor Swift song, but I assume it's not cheap. Maybe if you hit Scooter Braun up for the original versions, he might give you the licensing a little cheaper than she would for
Yeah,
the new.
maybe,
So
but maybe we'll see Jeremy at the conference,
he'll be there. He won't
face-to-face
be there Saturday,
conversation.
but he'll be there Thursday, Friday. So
Okay.
and the rest of the CI team's there too, Dakota and Mike and Kyle. So corner one of them, let them know.
How many? I feel like not enough bands take advantage of those opportunities. I mean, how like if you had, you have the platform now, like how important is it
It's the
really?
most important part of the weekend. It's so much more important than your performance because the way you're going to get the people to see you at your performance is coming out earlier and connecting with them, right? There's the 100 bands at any point in time, there's 8 bands playing at the same time. It's kind of a roll of the dice, if not, of where those people will be. We make a genuine connection with them. And that's not like I did an op-ed for Keith on kind of how to navigate a, for 1120 mag on how to navigate being at a conference because I've been going them for many many years and from a standpoint of like an artist manager where I have my artists playing them and navigating them, and then also as like somebody like trying to advance in the music career and now somebody that speaks at them. There's a way to go about it. You don't want to annoy somebody, just be like, hey, come see me at 7 o'clock, like blah blah blah, and then like walk away, right? Like have a conversation with them, talk to them, kind of the information's out there of who will be there beforehand. Learn a little bit about them. Don't stalk them, but find out something that you could connect on, have a conversation with them, and then at the end of it mention like, oh, by the way, like I'm playing at 8 o'clock at the Backyard Ale House or something. You're gonna have a lot better chance of somebody coming to see you that way than just annoying them. But if you're not there, you're never gonna get the opportunity to really connect with them like that because they're all just hanging out. And I know there's big conferences like in Nashville and things like that where maybe the panelists aren't as approachable, but anybody that I bring in, it's a point for them to be approachable. And I wouldn't bring somebody in that was going to be, can I curse on here?
Oh yeah, it's internet.
Anybody's going to be a dick. Like, I'm not bringing, rude assholes in here. I want people who will connect with people, who want to be there, who want to talk to people and have a desire to help artists grow. If you're not interested in that, we're not the conference for you. It's just not what it is as a panelist.
And as far as the lineup this year, um, obviously you really like probably almost all of the acts that you're bringing. I'm sure there's stuff that you don't. I mean, it's not your cup of tea, but it's still important to be part of it. It's just because you don't like them doesn't mean someone else doesn't or won't. Um, some of the talent that's coming through this year. I mean, what are some highlights that you can kind of touch on?
For sure. I mean, Varsity's coming through, which I'm super excited about. I love that band. I think they're such a cool mix of like they're metalcore, but they're pop punk, but there's like some R&B in there and there's some new metal. I just think they're a really cool band. I actually think with everything going on, it's a missed opportunity, but nobody was talking about that kid to be the new lead singer of Linkin Park. I think he would be perfect for that. They're wildly talented. They're from New York City. Just like toured with like From Ashes to New and a bunch of other like big bands. I think they're on tour with Skylit Drive right now as one of the support acts. Super, super cool band. I don't think they get enough recognition as they deserve. And then Aaron Fink's, partnering up. So it's like kind of like a co-headline show, which
Okay.
is really cool. And Gina Fritz, who's just kind of been coming, she's from Connecticut, but she's been playing our music scene for a while now and has developed a really cool following. Tatiana's playing that show, and Ken Norton, a good friend of mine, is he's playing his first original show in a long time, debuting a bunch of original music he wrote. So I'm super excited about that. And Betty
Well,
Whitecastle, who's opening it up, is phenomenal. I think one of the most underrated like localish bands there is.
you touched on Ken Norton.
Yeah.
Gonna pause on that for real quick for 1 second. Have you guys made up to a degree?
There was never an issue. Kenny, Ken's been one of my good friends for many, many years, and his life got busy, right during beginning of the pandemic, and a lot of things changed, and he took a different direction, and I totally respect that. And he shot me a text message and was like, you know, what's the deal with the conference? And we started talking about him playing music and his interest in playing. I was like, of course, like anytime. And that invitation stands for anything. Like this conference wouldn't be here without Kenny. He was there with me from the first day, and he's always, part of it and part of its history and definitely part of its legacy. And I hope he plays it every year, moving on forward. He's definitely one of the highlights this year. I'm super excited to hear his new original music.
I have too. We were texting not too long ago, and he said he was working on some new stuff. And when I saw him, because yeah, he I don't know, he didn't disappear. Obviously, he's hustling still. He's got a full-time job. He's and it's been a weird 4 years, right? It's been the pandemic hit, and I think people just kind of you didn't know what was going to happen. And you said we pivot and all that kind of stuff. And it's like so like he kind of disappeared at least from the conference, so to speak, and all that kind of stuff. And when I saw his name pop back up, I'm like, oh, okay, this is good.
Yeah, no, we know, like I speak to Ken uh fairly regularly, not as much as when we were obviously like neck deep in putting on an event, constantly, and we were kind of co-managing a band at the time too. And since then life's just taken different paths, but I've known him since, I met him at a college party at my college apartment in probably 2006 or something like that. So him and Mark walked in. It was the first time I ever smelled patchouli before. Um, and I didn't know, I never saw like never saw a little white dude with dreadlocks before either. So it was like, okay, this is college. So I love both of those guys, and I always loved Grace's downfall. So super excited that he's playing, and like I said, he's part of the history of the conference forever, and its legacy. So
I heard he's working on some stuff with Kyle Demko as well.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Very
excited for
cool.
that too.
Kyle's also wildly talented.
Yeah, he's just
He's playing as well.
he's is he?
Yeah, he's
Good.
playing at Mutant Brewing
Oh, very
Friday.
cool.
Yep.
So another new is that a new venue, I guess, for this year or
So last year, they were going to be part of it, and then the opening got delayed a little bit, and then it ended up being their grand opening that weekend. So they were part of it, but we just had one person play there a night. So like Tom Graham played there Friday night, and then I can't off the top of my head remember who played Saturday, but it was just one acoustic musician through the whole night. But they were part of the conference, like an unofficial venue because it got added so late when they finally got the okay to open. But first time with a full lineup. Super excited about that. I love Love that room. Love their beer. So
Love Steve.
like Steve.
Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
no. I love Steve.
I love his hustle. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's one of my good friends.
I don't know. Well, I think I figured it out. I think he sleeps while his Tesla drives. That's what I've kind of
I'll be ha
decided.
I'll be having full on conversations with Steve, like, and we'll be like putting together deals for shows and stuff, and like he'll be emailing me stuff that I know he's doing in Excel, and I'm like, where are you? And he's like, I'm driving to West Virginia to put on a show, and I'm like, what? And I remember he has the Tesla, and it's just like basically driving him,
Yeah.
his own. But yeah, I just texted with Steve earlier. He posted a picture of his new baby in a Penn State outfit, and I said, love it. She's adorable. I'll put the Notre Dame outfit in the mail for you.
Right.
So,
I just don't know. Like, he's got Mutant, and he's involved with the rooftop at the Oppenheim building, the State College, Stage West in
mhm.
Penn State State College. Yeah, just had a baby. I just don't know where he finds the time to do it all.
Yeah, I don't know. He is I mean, he's putting on. So Steve's one of the bigger players, in the Northeast in electronic dance music too. He's putting on concerts, without much, fanfare because he's the promoter. It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And that's the way to be when you're in that position. But he's putting on shows in Philly, West Virginia, Albany, Harrisburg, all over the Northeast. And he's like one of those guys at the big festivals. It's like side stage. He knows everybody in that scene,
Yeah.
and I definitely commend him for that. He really broke through on that.
I just love the fact that he takes risks. It's he's young, I mean, and he takes these risks, and more often than not they pay off. There's some that, obviously he tried and maybe it didn't work out for or how he wanted him to or whatever it may be. I don't know, but I just love the fact that he's smart, he takes risks, and he's involved. He's not just like this absentee owner and things like that.
100%. Yeah. I mean, he's got the the pizza place too, 8 Mile Pizza in
His state college.
State College,
Yeah.
which so I'm not a pizza guy. I haven't had
That was wrong with you.
pizza since 1993. I got sick on pizza as a
Are you
kid, and
serious?
yeah, like the like a greasy traditional slice of pizza, like actually like just seeing it or smelling it turns my stomach, like makes me sick to my stomach. Um, and he was on me about trying the Detroit pizza up there. And I like looked at pictures of it online. I was like, man, that doesn't look like pizza to me. It looks more like bready, like something I would try. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. And I was in State College the one day because my little brother's up there and we had a show. And I just popped in and he talk about being like you said, like not an absentee owner. Like I walked in to like didn't tell him or anything. I walked into the pizza place. I ordered 2 trays of pizza. It was like Good Friday or something. I was picking my little brother up at State College to come back. And I was like, oh, I'll bring pizza back for everybody because pretend like we're Catholic and we don't eat meat on Fridays. So I put in the order. I went to go get my little brother at his dorm and I came back and the guy's like, oh, yeah, Steve called me from the Tesla. He saw you on the security camera. He said, to put this, he wants you to try this kind of pizza or whatever. And like this is a suggestion. Like I get like a different kind of pizza too. And I was like, all right. Like I was like, he what? So yeah, he was just driving and like watching the security camera at his pizza place, like among other things. So I don't want to, give the guy too much credit. But I love him to death. I really do. We've done a lot of great business together and I value that relationship a lot. But I ate the pizza. It was my first slice of pizza since 1993, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know that I like to me, I'm like it's just like it was light and the sauce was really good and the cheese was kind of like on top of it. Like it felt more like something like a I don't know, like a fancy bread or something, but it was awesome. The reviews are great. So definitely if you're in State College, check it out. And I think they serve it at Mutant every
Yeah,
once.
they've got a hot honey pepperoni Detroit style pizza
Okay.
that is fucking amazing, as well as a couple other ones too, but like that one's my favorite.
Mm,
It's so good.
yeah. So
I
I
think
got
he's still like scoping out new spots, and like he's got other things in the works that he won't tell anybody about yet. But
yeah. I don't want to spill any of his inside information, but he's got some really cool stuff.
yeah,
Not only in Scranton but stuff all over. Really cool stuff planned. So
yeah,
yeah,
what a guy. But yeah, you seem to surround yourself with a lot of those people. I mean, we can talk about Vinny really quickly. Vinny at the V spot, Vinny and Frank. I was just talking to Vinny the other day, and we were talking about the conference and the awards, and he's like, "Oh, Caviston will take that somewhere else one of these years." I'm like, "Bro, I have it documented. We just talked about it last year. It's documented that he won't go somewhere until you kick him out of here. So relax."
100%. I won't. It's I it, I have I don't know if it's a Northeast PA thing or whatever. Maybe it's not a good business mindset, but I'm if somebody's loyal to me, it's like almost like the Dave Portnoy saying of like if somebody likes me, I like them. You know what I mean, type of deal. But
Right.
like first of all, I love Vinny. We were just there Friday, and like he just like takes such like immaculate care and such pride in his business, and it's like the cleanest bar I've ever been in my life. And they were hanging new lights, and it just looks awesome in there. They had painted the whole building, and he kind of same thing. And I was like, Vin, like it's literally at the V spot. The music awards are there until he kicks us out. If he ever is like, this is too much or this isn't enough or whatever it is, like yeah, we'll go somewhere else. But it's there until we get kicked out because I love it there. I love the staff. They're great. Frank's awesome. I'm closer
Well,
with
let's not get too carried
Colorado.
away. I want to call Frank awesome.
You don't want to build him up too much. I talked to Vinny on my ride back from Scranton to Harrisburg. He was having his class reunion there
Hmm.
on Saturday, and he was all a ball of nerves about it. But it's a great bar, great staff. They're like family at this point because we play there so often that
Yeah.
it's not going anywhere. It's staying there. We couple years into it, like there was a bar downtown that's no longer there that was like every year they would kind of almost threaten. They would be like, "We'll be part of the," like almost like we needed them to be part of the music conference, and they were like, "We'll be part of it, but you have to move the awards here." And we just won it, and it was a much bigger place, and it was just like, no, like that. When I asked you the first year if you wanted to do it, you laughed at me and told me it was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
When once you see the success happen, then you can't just try to drag it away because you have a couple extra square feet. So
Right.
no way.
The one year, not Vinny, I'm sorry, Frank literally spit whiskey into my eyeballs. Like
Love that.
directly into, I won't tell you where we were. It was on the V Spot property where we were having some celebratory beverages. Let's call them shots. And I don't even know how it happened. I don't know if I said something funny or what. I am a very funny guy, right? So it could have been that. But yeah, we're taking shots of what is it called? Red
Red
bird,
breast,
red breast.
red
Yes.
breast whiskey. That's his drink. Yeah.
That's the go-to, right? And I,
Yep.
I turned and Frank literally right into my eyeballs. It burned so bad.
I have a bottle of it over here. The first couple years, Frank's quiet, right? And he's
Yeah.
until he gets to know you.
Hmm.
And he's real dry with his humor and everything. So the first like 2 or 3 years, I didn't know if he liked me or not. And he might not have. But like year 4 or 5, like it was a real big one. And that's when I knew he liked me because he was like, come here. Like as soon as like the words could, I was like, come here, come back here. And he had a bottle of red breast and he was like, all right. He's like, this is for you. We're drinking this tonight. And we drank a lot of it that night. I almost didn't make it to the radio station with Lissa the next morning. But
Nice.
it was a good night. And that was the first time I ever drank that stuff. I have the bottle on my bar down here in my basement, like kind of as like a little trophy. But
It's pretty
yeah,
good.
those guys are awesome, and it's just a great bar. It's
Yeah.
a great music bar, and they love and they support music a lot. So it's it aside from just being a great fit for the music awards and putting the tent up is cool and having the indoor outdoor part, it makes sense that they support music so much and they support everybody that it's there. It's a community and that's where it belongs.
We talked about people that you've surrounded yourself with, Steve from Mutant Brewing and the various other projects or venues, Vinny and Frank. Um, we said earlier, the Ritz, new venue this year, could have just opened, I think, earlier this year.
January, yeah.
Uh, Josh Balls, James. Um, Obviously you know them, you work with them. How important is their presence, you know, this year?
Oh, it's huge. Um, they're a venue. There's a venue. Like there's, there's a lot of awesome bars that support the music scene so much, and the reason that music is so alive in Scranton is because of those bars. But there wasn't a national venue in Scranton, um, for bands above a certain size to play for many, many years. And what they're doing there is so important. So them being part of this, it wouldn't feel right if they weren't. So, and it was right off the bat that Josh was like, "We're in." And I've gotten to know James since, and he's super supportive of everything we do. We've done a couple events there so far, and it's been a pleasure. Again, their staff's awesome. Morgan is like an absolute rock star. Um, I can't say enough about her.
Yeah.
She's awesome. From somebody that's done that job as a general manager of a music venue, like there's no playbook for that. There's no education for that, and no day is ever the same. And you're always gonna have the weirdest problems that you have to just troubleshoot right on the fly and figure out. And you're not dealing with like, I mean, let's be honest, you're not dealing with normal people in the music industry. Like
No.
there's egos and uniqueness, and you have to figure out how to navigate that and make sure that the show goes on no matter what, and but also that you're doing it in the best interest of the venue. And she's killer at it. And I think she balances Josh really well. The two of them work really well together. So Josh is he's a good buddy. We do again a lot. We've done a lot of business together for many years, and I'm super happy for him and for James and the success that they're having, and they're bringing in killer shows. I'm super excited for the shows that we have there this year. I think it's going to be a really good weekend for them.
Can we say fuck James though for a minute? Just like, how does he get so handsome?
He is a gorgeous man.
What the fuck, dude? You're tall.
You,
You have nice hair.
oh, like the color too, that like salt and pepper,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. What the fuck, man?
good facial hair, great
Nice
jawline.
strong jaw. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Can you
fuck?
imagine him and Dustin Douglas in the same spot? Vinny, like if they were in the same room, Vinny would probably just like have a complete mental breakdown. Vinny wouldn't be able to give out enough compliments. He would just
Yeah.
melt down, and Vinny around Dustin Douglas is like probably my favorite thing in the world. Like I've never seen somebody just lay so many compliments of another man being handsome in my life. So I think you put James and Dustin in a room with Vinny, Vinny might spontaneously combust.
Yeah. And they're so like different, those two.
I love it.
Dustin's a little shorter, but
Oh, they,
long
I
hair.
thought
Long
you were
hair.
talking. I thought you were talking about Josh and James, but yeah, no, they are.
Oh, they are too. I remember they're doing a lot of press. I think it was maybe at a grand opening, and somebody commented on they shared the interview, and the lady said something like, "I can't watch this guy with all these tattoos on it." I'm like, "Holy shit! Like, what the
That
fuck?"
was my one of my single favorite quotes that I ever saw. I screenshotted it immediately, or video recorded it and sent it to Josh.
Yeah,
I think I have a group message with Josh and Steve from way back when we used to do Noir Nights at Stage West, and I like sent it to that one, and I was just like, I was so happy when I saw that to be able to send that to him.
yeah. I texted too. I said something, but yeah, that was the best.
And I mean, Josh is so like I admire a lot of things about him, like his work ethic. Like sometimes I'm like, man, I have a lot going on, and I like I kind of like get myself like burnt out. I just like think about what he's doing, and it's like I got nothing going on compared to him. He's balancing a lot, and he's doing it, and he's doing it at a high level. So I
Yeah,
definitely, I'm a little bit older than him, but I definitely admire and look up to everything he does, and I've seen him since he was 14 years old playing at my bars and the shows I was putting on and stuff. So
right.
I love seeing him do all the awesome things he's doing.
we talk about these people, the Vinnies and Franks. Like, not only are they successful, they're just really nice people. You have
Mhm.
Josh and you have James, you have Steve. Again, all these guys successful, just nice people. Like, there sounds like saying that out loud, it's like almost like there's a blueprint to being successful and working with people. It's like be fucking nice,
There is,
be
yeah,
cool to work with.
yeah, no, 100%. There's something to be said for it, and I think you see the longevity in the niceness. There's a lot of people that are super successful, they're assholes.
Assholes.
Um,
I can name a few of them.
yeah, 100%. But you see, I've been in business with a few of them, but it seemed like I remember talking to Christian McKnight, who was with Bamboozle years ago, and we were talking about like a certain person in the Northeast that does music, and like that at that point I was the young guy trying to like break in and do all this stuff, and he was like, dude, just keep doing it the way you're doing it, because the people who are going up faster or at like a two of accelerator rate, they're stepping on other people to do it. And he's like, you can only step on so many people before the people you stepped on start, catching up. And then you've stepped on all of them, and they're just going to so far exceed you, because there's something to be said about that. That if you burn too many bridges, there's nowhere to go. So
Yeah.
yeah, everybody that I keep a pretty tight circle, and people that I work with and that I trust. And I mean, you're in that, there, but it's small, and I like to surround myself with people that I see doing things and hustling and doing it for the right way, right reason, and doing it the right way. Um, and I don't let a lot of people in there, but definitely everybody you've mentioned, I admire and love what they're doing, or I wouldn't, it's really easy to, as you get older, it's way easier to ignore people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need noise in my life, like, like
Yeah.
the first couple years of this, like when people would just like start stuff, it would like engulf me for a while. And now I'm just like, I have a kid. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care if you don't like my music awards. I don't care if you don't want to come to my show. Like, affects my life in no way. Like, I don't read Facebook anymore. I just like, I do what I do to market it. And like, I have like a lot of people muted, and I just like live my life, and it's so much better. Um, so much better. And I just communicate with the people I want to communicate with, and that's what motivates me. Like talking to a guy like Steve or Josh, um and Vinny and you and Keith. Um, that's kind of my, like, that might be everybody that I talk to right there, aside from like my fantasy football league and my high school buddies. I don't know that I speak to many more people anymore. And Zach Kelcher, like, also a really good friend of mine. But I talk to people that motivate me and make me want to be better or do better, based on what they're doing, and life's just way fucking better that way.
Yeah.
Like,
What was that old saying that I wish I knew now what I knew, or I wish I knew now what I knew how did it
wish
go?
that I knew what I
What I
know
know
now
now.
when I was
Oh, yeah,
younger.
that one. That's done. Rod Stewart, right?
Yeah, I think he might have covered it, but
Yeah, I don't know. But it's like that old saying. Like, yeah, I wished I was able to, tune out a lot of noise when I was younger, and just like if you could realize how much shit didn't matter like back then, like
100%.
the clothes you wore or anything. Like, dude,
Yeah,
I remember I used to my parents, we weren't poor by any means, but we didn't have a ton of money, and my parents were just very frugal. And it's like, when I was playing basketball, Nike shoes just they weren't on the table. Like, it wasn't an option. Nike shorts, Nike shirts. My mom, we would go to Value City, which is like, for a reference, what Value City is kind of like, I want to say like a TJ Maxx type of
yeah, I
deal.
know what it
Like,
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
I
shop
would
there
get,
too.
yeah,
We didn't have anything growing up. Contrary to, again, not caring what people say, it's a much popular belief. I'm not like a trust fund kid. Like, I come
yeah,
from Carbondale. There aren't trust funds. I don't think they're even allowed by city charter in Carbondale. Like, they don't exist, right?
yeah,
Like, I I come from very, very humble beginnings. And I appreciate everything my parents ever did for me, but
yeah,
like, put myself through college, putting on concerts, and I got a job at Burger King when I was 16 years old. Like,
right,
I wouldn't be doing that if I had a trust fund.
yeah, yeah. It just growing up's funny. I wish
And I think
I,
that's kind of that, like that whole group that you just went there. Like all of us come from, I think, very similar beginnings where like, we've all worked hard and grinded for everything we have. And I think that's why there's such a mutual respect amongst everybody there.
yeah,
Like real recognizes real, I think, or whatever Kanye West said.
right.
Or Michael Scott, one of them said that. I don't know.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Michael Jordan, or Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Michael Scott.
Oh, sure.
I think in the show it says Michael Jordan, but I think it's actually a Wayne Gretzky quote.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best show ever.
You know what? I don't know if, so that came out, I want to say, I forget what year it was, but I just like my sense of humor, like my age, where I was in life, I couldn't like grasp onto that. Like it wasn't funny to me at the time.
Uh, yeah, when it was on TV,
Yeah.
I missed all of it. Like I was in college. I wasn't watching TV. I remember it would be like on in the background of the dorms, and I never like people would be like, "Oh, you're from Scranton." I never got it. Never got onto it. Later in life, I
Mhm.
watched it. Like I probably started watching it when it was in the last season and like binged a lot of it,
Yeah.
like on DVD even back then. And now like it's the most quotable show ever. Like I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I try to watch it and I always fall asleep. I don't know. It's not
Uh,
that it's boring. It's just
yeah, yeah. No, I get it. There's a ton of shows like that for me too that
yeah.
people love that I can't wrap my head around.
But some other venues really quick.
Yeah.
We went through a couple of them, but Harry's, which I think is under new ownership, at least within the last year. I'm not sure the last 2 years of the conference or not, but Harry's I feel like is making some waves too.
Yeah, they're doing really cool stuff. Jermaine, that took it over, he's been around forever. He definitely knows how to promote and market events. So I think they're doing really cool stuff there. And Harry's has been kind of one of those, when we started, I think it was still Mertz,
Mhm.
when the conference started, and Mertz was part of it, and then like Harry's would be part of it sometimes. Other times they would do a lot of private parties there and stuff, so it would always be hit or miss if they could be part of it. So like they were like they're one that's been like in and out throughout the years. But I called Jermaine and let him, know, and he was like fully on board. Hirsch is definitely like he and Hirsch know each other pretty well, so I kind of leaned on the DJ Hirsch connection there. We've always existed in the same realm, but I never knew him very well. But he's been super supportive of it. They're, sharing a lot of our stuff, which is awesome to see. So super super excited to have them on board. And they have a killer lineup. So Meet Me on Marcy is just they're such a powerhouse pop rock cover band that I'm super excited for them to
Yeah.
be there. And Elephants Dancing's making such waves. So
Yeah.
there's really really cool bands there.
And then of course Backyard Ale House.
Backyard Ale House, yep. So that's gonna be a really another really cool room. We're doing a 90s versus 2000s night there on Saturday. But really cool pop rock indie bands there. Very excited for that. That's always an awesome room. It's like the one bar in town that it seems like the University of Scranton kids actually come down off the hill for. So it's always the bands love it. They love playing there to like a young audience. So we try to cater the bands that are playing there to them, and there's a really cool lineup there. The Bog, um, you know, I love all the bars involved in this, but the Bog's my favorite bar in the world. I have it tattooed on my thigh, and they
Yeah.
have a killer lineup. Endless Mike and the Beagle Club is headlining there on Saturday. That's my favorite band in the entire world of all time. They are just incredible. Mike Miller, the lead singer, is like one of the greatest lyricists of all time. I like the fact that they like kind of got passed over a couple times, I think, and aren't the biggest band in the world blows my mind because they're just so good. Like those lyrics are, I'm not like a that band changed my life thing, but that band made me think about the world in a completely different way many times throughout my life as they put out new music. So
What
anybody's
style? What genre is that?
like I would call them like folk punk.
Okay.
So it's like, but also like indie. It, so there's Endless Mike, which is Mike Miller, And at any time, the Beagle Club can consist of 5 to 15 people. And they just write like very like a lot of social commentary. And like that was like when I first started like to care about that in the world. Like their first like big quote unquote out, like the bigger album of them was called The Husky Tenor. And it came out probably like 2005, 2006, like during the Bush administration. And it's not political, but there's a lot of commentary on like life at that time. Like,
Okay.
we were going through the recession, and life was different. And then like a lot of fear of like a draft, and a lot of fear of like, your friends are at war and like what's going on with them. But also they're from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So they're living in this depressed area. And there's a lot of Johnstown references about floods and the incline and like all this stuff. And they follow up a couple years later with We Are Not at War album that is like their return after this like kind of success of that album for what it was to Johnstown, and start this like arts community and this music venue. And they get signed by Anti-Flag to Anti-Flag Records at that point, and just like do some really cool stuff, and then just disappear for 10 years, and then put out an album that's just like a critique of religion, years later. Like just really cool themed albums, and just intense lyrics but that have such pop sensibility that like you want to sing them, but then all of a sudden you like realize you're singing about like these intense topics. And
Hmm.
yeah, they're just a really really cool talented band. Sometimes some songs are him on a piano solo sing, and other songs are like full blown like go Berdelio, like gypsy punk folk stuff. And then other ones like they have an amazing song that's just him a cappella saying, like it's all over the place. But definitely my like legitimately my favorite, or like right there is one of my favorite bands in the entire world. Definitely the most influential band in my life ever.
I'll check that out.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar.
yeah, they're great. And I booked them in the area a ton of times, from Stroudsburg to Eleanor Rigby's to Scranton. And so they have a decent following around here. They haven't played in many years up here, so I'm excited for people to be able to see them again.
Cool. And then another big part of the conference, you're doing it at the Ritz. It's an emo night. Seven years of tears.
Yeah, our seven, can't believe it's been 7 years, but yeah, our 7 year anniversary show. Super excited about that. It started at the conference
Right.
as a joke,
Yeah.
me and Hirsch, and then it worked and turned into everything that it is. It changed my life, immensely. So, we decided to bring it back this year for our 7 years, and we're doing it at the Ritz, and a bunch of like some of my favorite, people locally opening up for us. And then kind of got like a little back and forth through Instagram with Jazz Zapp, this like really cool emo comedian that's been out there. And like we kind of like were floating the idea for a while of her being a guest at one of our emo nights. And we were really talking about New York City, when we played Jersey or the city, because that's where she's from. But then I was just like, hey, like I know this might be something you're not interested in at all, but would you be interested in coming down for our anniversary show? And she was like all about it. And then she's even speaking as a panelist, because aside from being like hilarious and doing a really cool or having a really cool career now that she based off of like emo jokes,
Hmm.
like before that she's like a super successful like podcast producer, and like so like she works in social media for other people, like building their brands, which she has a lot of knowledge, I think, to dispense. So super excited for that.
Yeah, her and I are back and forth too.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to get her on.
cool. I
She
hope
said
that
she's
works
in.
out.
She said she's like, here's my email. My DMs get up pretty jammed up. I said, all right, no problem. So I emailed her and I haven't heard back.
Okay, I'll bump it again.
Nah, it's all
But
good.
yeah, but she's great. So hopefully that works out. And then if not, we can connect you guys at the conference.
Yeah,
And
what day is she speaking?
speaking Friday, so
Friday?
she's 2 p.m. Friday, and then we have the emo nights then Friday night. But awesome lineup. I mean, Ed Kuzo's playing, and my bud Lael is performing. Gus the Savage is gonna play a little set. He's doing some pop punk stuff now. Retro Vi and the Kids in Roderick, which that band's just poised to do really cool stuff. And I've been working with them not like on a music standpoint, but we have some cool business endeavors because they have a production company as well that we're working with each other on in New York City. We have a festival in October called Fall of the House Festival in Asbury Park that we're doing at Salty's Beach Bar. So I'm super excited to have them come down because they've gotten kind of close over the last couple of years, and they're just phenomenal. Really cool screamo emo band.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope that
Um,
right.
any last words about the awards and conference in general before we move on to something else?
No, I mean, I would love everybody to come out, support it, discover your new favorite band. That it's a great opportunity for that. We'll have information about it all over the internet. Definitely check out Northeast PA Scene. They always do a really cool like guide to the festival that like Rich writes up, like so that should be great. And yeah, we're super excited about it. Come out, have a good time, hug your favorite person in a band, hug Popko, play with his beard. Hopefully see you guys all out there. Super excited for it and glad. Thank you to anybody that supported over the last 11 years. We wouldn't be here without you.
Um, in the past, there's been you can pay a cover at the door, like per venue, or there's like all day hopper passes. Is that still a thing?
There is, yep. So electricitymusicconference.com. There's a ton of options this year. So with the fact that we have headliners, like there's not like a set price across. Most of the rooms are $5. There are some free rooms this year as well. Mutant Brewing is free, and the marketplace is free, thanks to generous sponsorship by Mutant Brewing to make those stages free and cut out the cost for it. So that's really cool. But then like obviously emo night, the 7 year is a little bit more expensive because the expenses associated with that. And then varsity, that shows a little bit more as well. But you can buy a pass that covers everything and get you in everywhere. There's 1 day Friday passes, 1 day Saturday passes, 2 day Friday, Saturday passes, and then 3 day passes that get you into the music awards and everything. They're all available and it's the most affordable way to do it.
Right.
And I mean, I think the most expensive one's $30, right? So,
No.
it's very affordable.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's kind of a no-brainer if you're thinking about going anywhere more than one spot. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, the time you spend at the V Spot, Ritz, and then being able to walk to Harry's, the Bog, all those places. I mean,
exactly.
I think it was 2019. I think it was. I think I parked. I was at the station. I parked at the station. I walked from there, and I hit a bunch of different places. Awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, I put on. I should get a Fitbit and see how many steps I take
Yeah,
that weekend.
should do that.
I have a really good staff this year, because of the that are going to make this possible because of um the emo night being part of it. Friday's gonna be tough for me to be everywhere, but I have some really great staff that's gonna be helping out and making sure everybody feels welcome and the love. So excited about that.
I was telling her we just did a wedding together maybe a week or two ago, and I was like, dude, you better not fucking miss it this year.
Yeah, I know, right?
The
Jeez.
words, yeah, you crashed his car on the way there. Unbelievable.
It was wild too, because like a band pulled up and they were like, "Man, sorry we're late." There was this like dude with Axelrad boxes all over the side of the highway. He was like
No,
unloading his van. It was smashed, and everybody was driving around. I was like, "Yeah, that's the merch for tonight. That's our t-shirts. Yeah,
jeez.
that's the DJ." They're like, "Oh shit." Yeah, I was like, I feel, but well, because like it was wild too, because he like texted me and I like made a joke, like he was like, because he texted me like fucking around earlier and was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make it tonight," and I was like, "Ha ha ha," and then he called me, um, like an hour later, and he was like, "I'm really not gonna make it." I was like, "Dude, I don't have fucking time for this right now. Like, I'm about to go on stage." And he's like, "No, I got in an accident. I'm really not gonna make it." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I was like, "Are you okay? Like, I could send somebody." Blah blah blah. And he ended up being okay, but
Yeah.
not so much the van.
It's all right. I think he won that deal. Got a
He,
nice new van out of it.
he usually wins most deals.
Yeah,
So
he's not hurt. No one's hurt. That's good.
exactly.
That's good news.
Comes out on top.
Yeah, he's something.
He has
He
some.
he's like he's not like miserable, but he kind of is.
Yeah. He's definitely not like he is legitimately like probably I mean, he's one of my best friends in the world, but
Yeah,
he uh he has an aura about him for sure.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I don't either. I tell every like it's like my shtick. Like we kind of do the good cop, bad cop thing, like in business wise.
Yeah,
And I always tell people like, oh, he's miserable or he's
yeah,
grumpy. I always tell people he's grumpy. And sometimes people like believe it. And then I start to feel bad. So I'm like, he's not really. He just likes to fuck with people. It's just his like which I love and respect because like I grew up like we always joke like my friends like if somebody's not messing with you and not busting chops, like they don't like you,
right.
right? Like I remember the first time my wife saw my friend, she's like, "Why are you guys so mean to each other?" Like that's how we show our love, you
Yeah,
know?
we're friends.
Yeah, and I forget that like that's not so much how the younger generation does it. Like
Yeah,
I was busting chops with because I like him. I legitimately like the kid, a kid that works at Stage West in State College about something that happened. And I was like, just like repeatedly, like I like made up a nickname for him, like we were joking around, and then like at the end of the night, like Katie was like, "Hey, like they don't understand like how you guys act." She's like, "These college kids don't get that." She's like, "You're like hurting his feelings, I think." And I like pulled the kiss out. I'm like, "Dude, I like love you. Like I'm sorry. Like
yeah,
I'm only doing this because we roast the ones we love or whatever." And
right.
I forget that sometimes. So I love the back and forth with Hirsch a lot.
Yeah, he's it's fun.
Yeah.
What I wanted to get into is, and I said this to start the podcast, you're a man of many hats. In addition to the conference that you do here in Scranton, you kind of talked about it already. You book shows. I know you're involved with HMAC in Harrisburg. Um, Talk a little bit about all those things and kind of have you how you navigate it because you also said that you don't know how you think you don't have enough time and then you see balls and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not busy at all. But I mean, you are. You're doing all these things. You have a full-time job at a college, married. You're a husband. You're a father. Like, how do you do it all?
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge. A lot of calendars, a lot of scheduling time, and a lot of prioritizing, right? Like I'm not gonna pretend like some balls don't get dropped here and there, but I like a lot of times I just have to make a call, and there's definitely like a hierarchy of everything I do. Um, and a lot of it comes down to like uh, I weigh things differently since Joey came along, right? Like he's definitely number one priority. Like that's just where it starts, right? Um, Joey and Amanda and family come first, and then business, my 9 to 5, is obviously what gives us like a security and allows me to do everything else. And that's second, and then everything else kind of falls in line behind there. It depends on what can advance us, but I work a lot. But I work a lot strategically. So I come home and I have my family time, and I do um everything so that's normal. It doesn't affect anybody else. And then I work at night. Um, I work. I'll settle in around 9 o'clock, and I'll work till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Usually, that's the basic way I do it, and it's just a lot of lists and getting things done. And that's kind of how I balance it. And then Sundays, it's I get up early on weekends and I work before Joey's up and stuff like that. It's just making it so it's not affecting anybody else or negatively affecting anybody, but getting everything done to the best of my ability. And I think I've been doing all right with it. I don't have any complaints so far.
Yeah. And what are those things?
Yeah, so I we have emo night. Obviously, that's the big one. Or I mean, that's grown into other things too. So it's Sad Boy Club is our business name, and so we have emo night, we have heavy night, We have Mac Miller night, we have 90s versus 2000s night, and we have adult proms that we put on, and a Taylor Swift brunch that we did recently. It's really turned into an immersive event company. We put on these events and find things that people can connect with and create community around. And that's it's my passion for sure. I like connecting people and finding ways to give people experiences. That makes me happier than anything else. Like those moments that I can see created, be it at emo night or Taylor Swift brunch, and everything's different, right? Like emo night is this whole community and family, and we've created this space for people who don't feel comfortable going other places or never found their tribe or never did it, and they've like created these amazing friendships, and like we've played weddings and people have gotten engaged at it and they come after their wedding and all this amazing thing. And then you have the other thing where we have Taylor Swift night, and I see a dad that brought his two daughters, and he's sitting there holding their hands screaming out these Taylor Swift songs, having this awesome moment with his daughters. Like that's a whole nother like awesome feeling to have. Or like heavy nights, like that's people that like don't, maybe like in certain markets, don't have an opportunity to go hear that music they like, and they connect with it in different ways. And 90 verse 2000s just like a big party for people our age that can go back and have these nostalgic reconnections. Or prom is probably my favorite one, because when we did those proms, like I wasn't sure what it was going to be, and it was a lot of like things I didn't expect. Like I brought my mom to this prom because she was never able to go to prom when she was a kid because their family couldn't afford a dress. Or I never got asked to my prom, so this is my first attempt at it. Or a lot of like I was in high school during COVID and we didn't
Mm,
have proms, so I never got to go to my prom. Like it was like the messages and the
that's interesting.
yeah, the reviews we got from that were a mixed bag, but it was a lot of like it was a lot less of like, hey, it's an excuse to go get fucked up and put on a dress and a tux than it was like people who genuinely missed out on it, or have come into their own and wanted to have that moment that they never got, and that felt good to be able to provide that. It's cool to be able to do that. There's more than just a party behind it, and that's what makes me you know push a little harder to give people the best events they can.
And how do you come up with this kind of stuff? I mean, do you and Hirsch and your team sit down and kind of brainstorm, or are you watching trends in different parts of the country? Like, how do you kind of
Yeah, yeah,
take
I mean
these chances on this stuff?
everyone kind of comes out, has come about different. So emo night, like I said, we kind of did it. Like I was like, hey, there's these guys doing this emo night in LA at this little bar. And obviously they blew up and they're huge and since then, but like when we were doing it, like when we first started, it wasn't a big national thing yet. And sorry, I need to take a drink real quick. But that just kind of came organically and that kind of created everything else. And then 90s night was Hirsch's idea. He was just like, hey, like how do we like actually, well, it was really Billy Nasser's idea from the Backyard Ale House, because he called us and he said, hey, I want you to do emo night at Parade Day. And I was like, they'll hate it. And he was like, no, listen. He's like, I don't want you to do emo music. I want you to do 90s hip hop. And I was like, oh, that could be cool. He's like, but can you incorporate live musicians? And I was like, yeah, that would be cool. So we got Brian Banks on drums, and then we had a trombonist with us one year, a saxophonist with us, bass player that plays along to it. And it's kind of like turned into its own thing that does really well in a couple different markets. And then I love Mac Miller, and I was like one day driving and listening to Mac Miller, and I was like, man, like I feel like people connect with Mac Miller and his music the same way like emo kids connect with emo music. Like I think it means a lot to people. And I called Hirsch, and he was like, yeah, he's like, let's try it. Like it's worth a shot. And then I happened to know Mac Miller's DJ in real life. He's a EDM DJ now, and kind of ran it past him, and I was like, well, I don't want to like. It's obviously a little bit more sensitive. It's not a genre; it's a person, and had a tragic passing. So how do we do this? And it was more like, he was like, that's a cool idea. He's like, I wouldn't do it in Pittsburgh, and I was like, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't do it in Pittsburgh. And then we linked up with the Mac Miller Foundation. So every show we would donate. money to the foundation and give back to the all the great things that that foundation does. So that was cool. And then the prom thing, I was just really burnt out. We were doing a lot of emo nights. We were on 6 months almost of doing an emo night every weekend for 2 nights a weekend. I just needed a break from that and something different. And I was like, oh, it's prom season, like joking. And I was like, we should do an adult prom and put them on sale. And man, people supported it. And then I got nervous because I was like, I think there's a lot of expectation behind here. So we put a lot of work into it, and I think everybody loved them. Everybody seemed to have a blast at both of them. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we did a I think 2 years in a row, an 80s prom at the Weekender. It was
Okay.
back in like 05, 06. And I don't know, we stopped doing them. They were fun.
Yeah, it was great.
I,
Free, Keith came in and did prom photos for people. We had a photo booth. We did a king and queen. Um, yeah, people loved it. It was great.
yeah. I
People
mean,
were
I
like
see it.
different limos.
What's that?
People were pulling up in limos.
Yeah.
I was kind of like I wasn't sure like how all out people would go. 90% of the people like went all out, like got their hair done, came in dresses. Like it was great.
It's interesting that people like, because, how do I say this? Like, I went to prom, I had prom, and like, you don't think about people who didn't. And especially now with with COVID and kids missing out on that kind of stuff, like, you forget about things that like aren't in your bubble.
Mhm.
So it's cool to see like that kind of, take shape and people kind of respond to it that way and kind of like utilize it in that sense.
It was neat. Like I said, I thought it was just gonna be people that wanted to, party
Yeah, just
and
a night
dress
out.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a night out, and that's what I thought. I was like, people will wear like tuxedo shirts, and girls will put on a dress, but not go all out. But like people went all out, and there were people that even that went all out that were just there to have a good time, and just used to get together with a bunch of friends and have a party. But there were some really cool stories in there that weren't outliers, and you get a lot of that feedback. So I'm super big into like I want to know how the night was for everybody. I want to know how it was for the bar owner, for the bartenders, for the bouncers, so I know how to make our events better every time. So I talked to everybody after the show, and I got a lot of those stories from the bartenders that were telling me, like people were telling them their story, or the bouncers, or the waitresses, things like that, and people were really had a really good night and experience from it. So it was
Good.
exciting.
That's cool. No, I mean, I think today especially people are looking for an experience. It's hard. It's harder to get people out of their houses and like to go out, right? So it's you guys have this like unique thing where everything you guys do is like a special event.
We try to
Yeah.
make it different every time and make it worth. Like I understand that a dollar's not going as far as it did. So we first try to keep everything super affordable, and I don't think we price ourselves out of anything. And we always run early bird specials and discount ticket codes and stuff like that. But if somebody's giving you their money, um, you got to give them value in return, or you only do it one time, right?
Right.
Like you could just open a door and play emo music on an iPad, which I think that's probably what some people that have never been to our event think it is. But there's a reason why when we're doing it, arguably, in my opinion, one of the best DJs in Pennsylvania, if not on the East Coast,
Don't say
um,
it. Don't say it.
playing the
Don't
music. I'll give him flowers where it's deserved. No, I'm not going much further than that, but I'll give him that he's got skills, right? I'll inflate that ego a little bit, but
say the name. Say it. Say it.
DJ Hirsch,
All right.
my partner in crime, he is great, but then
Yeah.
also like, we bring Keith in, and that's the thing. Like, I'll spend money to make the event better. Like we're paying a photographer to be there to take your photos. You get those memories. People remember it then. It's also it is marketing too. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. Like, people get their photos and they share them, and it's awesome. But we're doing that. We're not gonna play the same set list twice. We're gonna have little moments throughout the night for you where we do special things for special songs, and we have special guests, and our one thing that we do different than everybody is, there's still an inherent guilt about it. And, we are, we're not a band, and there's these big audiences there. And what I've always done is try to build bands. So if we go somewhere and we play, there's always going to be an opening act that plays original music, and they're going to open for us and get to play in front of those audiences and get paid. We take care of the bands that open for us too. So um, that's something that we do that's a little different, and another way to kind of give back to the community that's supporting us. So
Yeah. You mentioned getting burnt out. Um, this is actually the first podcast that I have recorded in almost a month. I've considered fucking calling it a day. I'm at episode 199. I don't know if this will be 200 or I'm recording one tomorrow that might be 200, and yours might come after that. But it's been about a month. And I just, full-time job. I've got two kids, wife, she just went back to school for her MBA. I coach my son's baseball team. Like,
right.
how, what I'm saying is, like, how do you get through that? How do you get through that burnout stage? Because I mean, it happens, right? Just by accident. We're human.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we took off June completely. I was shot like going into May. I mean, I'm so grateful for all the success like that we have. And I love every single person that comes to our show. And that's really what keeps me going, are those people, that I'm able to have these connections with. But I'm also like discovering as I get older, I'm a little bit more of an introvert. You know what I mean? And like my social I hate, don't let Hirsch listen to this part of the conversation.
He
'Cause
won't
he's gonna
listen to
call me
any of
like,
it. All right.
I he listens to all your podcasts. Don't let him kid you. But I still don't, but he
Right.
does. But
You hate them.
I don't hate them. I just no. But he gets real mad about like when my little brother says stuff like that's like super millennial or whatever. But my social battery like takes a lot longer to recharge than it used to. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how like in my 20s I would go out every night of the week, or I would be like always want to be around people, always want to like be in the mix and doing that. Now I like have like if I do two emo nights, 2 nights in a row, like I want to just be in a shell, like at home with my wife and my kid for like a week, and not like I don't want to go to dinner, I don't want to go to the store. I just want to, because I just feel like you're around all these people, and you have to be on. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna, I could be having the worst day in the world. I'm not gonna. Nobody else wants to hear about that. You know what I mean? They're here to me, tell them to have a good time, and we're there to start the party or whatever. So I was getting pretty burnt out, going into May and June, and I needed a little bit of a change and a little break, and I think Hirsch was in the same place. So we did those proms, and that was cool because it was different. I needed to just change it up. I think I just needed to do something a little bit different. So we did those, and Brian Banks brings a whole different dynamic to everything we do, and he's just like always a ball of positivity, and he like he makes me see the world in a different way and everything. And then I took a little. We did those two shows, and then I kind of went away to the woods for a little bit and rented a cabin with Amanda and Joey, and we had that time where I just like I turned my phone off. I scheduled out the social posts like to make sure we still had our presence or whatever, and I didn't answer emails, I didn't answer text messages. I just had time and shut it off. And we went a month, we didn't have anything, and then we kind of laid low for the summer, did a couple shows here and there, and then the fall's coming up quick, and we're all over the East Coast now, for the fall, like up and down, and it's good. I'm excited for it now. Like I feel like I needed a little time off, but enough like to stay fresh. Like we hadn't done an event in almost a month and a half, and I think everybody had fun on Friday at the V Spot, but I felt like I was rusty. It took a little to shake it off, and I think last night in Harrisburg got better, but it still wasn't 100% there. But I think coming into I think the good way to start this big run is in Scranton with our hometown crowd. That energy is nothing else. And I kind of feed off that. But also just thinking about like we have awesome people that come to our shows. Like in every city in every market now. We've done them enough that like there's certain people that are incredible, and we have like I guess they're friends. I don't know how the right way to put it, but really cool acquaintances, people that mean a lot to me that I truly value, and they'll, talking to them and knowing how much they appreciate it keeps me going. And I think I just look for that, like how does it affect people and what are we doing for other people? The minute it stops being fun or the minute it stops, meaning something to somebody else, like we're done. That'll be it, find the next thing, do something else. But yeah, if I hate it or it's not fun anymore, or if people stop connecting with it, we'll hang it up. We'll figure something else out. Start
Right.
doing chaperone nights or something. That
Someone just did it.
I know it's the girl who does it's incredible. It was in Scranton
Yeah.
State College and Harrisburg. Um, I saw the videos from the Scranton show. It was incredible. I marketed the Harrisburg show. Obviously, it crushed. It's awesome.
Yeah.
She's the next Lady Gaga. Chaperone is phenomenal
Yeah.
in her own right. I think she's the next Lady Gaga. The girl that's doing these chaperone nights is like insane. Like she is the like most energetic person I've ever seen. Like if the crowd gets down for 1 second, she's like diving into the crowd, getting them back up.
Nice.
Like she's on it. So there's a lot of different like everybody's trying to do a night now. It's the thing. Like there's a night for everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of it's just either they're not promoted correctly or not doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think a lot of that also started because, I mean, the price of a Taylor Swift ticket is almost just unaffordable for a lot of people. Like, do you
Correct.
think that these nights have started because of things like that, or do you think this is just an opportunity for, um, to kind of, uh, I don't
Money
say,
grab.
I don't want to say take advantage. It's not the word I want to use.
No, I mean there's two. I'm not gonna make you say what it is, but there's no nice way to say that. But there's and I'm not knocking anybody for doing it, right? If you're a DJ and you're making, say you're a local DJ who's, got enough skill to go out and do something and you're making $120 at a corner bar, or you have this opportunity to latch onto something and go cash in for a while, like do it. It's just smart business, right?
Right.
But do it the right way. Don't make it a cash grab, right? Like try to do it right. And I think Taylor Swift night for sure serves such an amazing purpose. Like and I know for a fact that she's not like anti them. Like she doesn't have a problem with them. You know, they call themselves Taylor Party now. I think she just didn't want her name being used. But I know there's like there's a girl that's based out of Philly that does Swemo nights. It's like Taylor Swift and emo mixed together nights.
Hmm.
And like Taylor Swift's like had her on a red carpet with her because she loved it so much, right? Because she's a big emo fan. So I think there is a spot for it because, like you said, you can't afford $1,000 ticket, right? Like it's crazy. People are flying to Paris. It's cheaper to fly to Paris and go to the
Right.
show than it is to go to one down the road because of the ticket laws over there and the way they sell them.
Yeah.
But there's like I think everybody's trying different stuff and I respect it. And there's stuff that there should be a night for, and there's try anything, but there's some like out there shit now that I think everybody's trying to have any kind of night and capitalize off that kind of craze and it'll be like any other run where the cream rises to the top or whatever. And we've definitely seen a lot. It's a lot more has to go into marketing your event because there's a lot more emo nights out there too, and it's kind of like WWE where it used to be like everybody had their own territory and now everybody's kind
Right.
of spreading out to everywhere. So
Well, it's just such a weird thing, and maybe you come across this as someone who's involved with booking shows, but I mean the ticket prices for some of these artists are like just insane. I mean for Justin Timberlake, my wife and I spent for two tickets $500.
yeah,
Now, pure entertainer, like I mean, is it worth that much? I don't think so. It was our
mhm.
anniversary, so a special event, yada yada yada. He did a great show, whatever. But like we just saw Incubus. just this past Tuesday. Great show, probably the fifth time I saw them, but the tickets weren't cheap. I mean, they weren't thousands of dollars, but they were pretty expensive. And then, I look over at the merch table, dude, $60 shirts,
I was gonna say probably $60.
$60 t-shirt. And I kind of got spoiled. I worked in the t-shirt business for 3 years, so I know what it
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah, you know the markup. Yep.
And I mean, Incubus is one of my favorite bands, but I'm like, $60 for a fucking t-shirt. So I got karma hit me pretty good. Uh, I'm like, I'm not spending $60 on a fucking shirt. I just can't. Like, I can't do it. So I actually bought a fucking bootleg shirt off some guy outside the venue.
Yeah.
Print wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great print, but it was like, had the name of the band, $20. Bought the shirt after the show. Felt pretty good. I'm like, $20. It didn't go to, the band, but the band got my money. Went to some hustlers instead. Got home. I just put it on today for the first time, and it had a fucking hole in the
Oh,
shirt. I'm like, God damn it! It's like
um,
not even in the back. If it was in the back, I'd be like, whatever. I don't
yeah,
care
yeah.
if it's at the bottom or something like that. But it was like right in the middle, like
We'll just
right in the middle.
put some more and just like that's style, right? Like in LA.
Yeah, yeah.
Take a
So,
cigarette and like burn some holes in it throughout and you'll be all right.
but
I
I,
did that.
I,
I did that for Bruce Springsteen. I bought a shirt off somebody outside too. I didn't
I didn't feel good about it. I really didn't.
know.
But I was like, I mean, I'm here. I enjoyed the show. Like, but I spent all this money like on tickets and being there and all that. I can't. I got two kids.
Yeah,
Daycare. And
100%. I don't so I waited up until 5 o'clock in the morning trying to buy Incubus, trying to buy Oasis tickets after the show. We played till 2 at the V Spot. Tickets went on sale at 3 o'clock our time, 8 o'clock in the morning in Ireland for Oasis in Ireland. Me and my buddies were trying to get tickets to go. It was incredible. They were $71 only
what?
because of the laws over there. You can't ticket gouge and you
Wow.
can't resell them. So we made it up. I finally got in the queue to buy it. There were 500,000 people in front of me.
Jesus.
87 because I was like we were like doing them. I was like, man, like maybe it's possible because it's an 87, like the stadiums over there are so big. There's 87,300 tickets available or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe we could do this. No way. That wasn't like there was no chance of ever getting a ticket.
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna go to Ireland instead now for like a long weekend. But
But the question, like, where does it end? I mean, does it end? It's just kind of nuts.
post COVID, I mean I buy shows occasionally, not as much as I used to, but I market shows for promoters like all over the Northeast, for a bunch of different places now, and so I see contracts and I see what people are getting paid, and I know what they were getting paid before COVID. I know what they're getting paid after, and I don't know if it's like people are trying to make up for lost money for a couple years, of income, or if they're trying to front load in case something happens again. Or I mean, the price of everything has gone up so much that it is more expensive to go on tour. If you're in a bus and
I
gas is more
guess. Yeah.
expensive and insurance and everything's more expensive, right? So I could see an increase in ticket prices, right? But and also though, like I think music fans were spoiled for a long time. Like I agree that the ticket prices are insane, but like $10 for a show was like a standard price from like 1980 until 2017. You know what I mean? Like for a like if you're going to see a local show, right? Like you were paying $10 in the 80s, you're also paying $10 in 2022. So
Right.
I think there's sticker shock when anything goes up when like you see like, oh, there's five local bands playing and now it's not $5, it's $15. Like what's going on there? But it's like, everything's more expensive, like substantially more expensive, which sucks. And I don't know, but I also don't know that anything's coming back down. I don't think anybody ever gives money back. You know what I mean? Like I don't think once a price goes up, it's hard to ever roll back. Maybe they stabilize and they stay, but I don't think prices ever come down if people are spending it, right? Like it's hard to ever come back.
Well, I mean, I think people think that their electric bill's going to go down. And I mean, I would say like UGI is going to say, okay, things are better now. now your fucking electric bill's lower.
Yeah.
Not a
No.
chance.
No, and I'm not, I own a business, so I don't want government involved in things that it doesn't need to be involved in. I think there's a place for it, but like I think utilities are a place that they should be involved in. I think
Yeah.
there should be some kind of regulation there, right? Like they put in the infrastructure. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like the government put in the infrastructure for these people to then sell gas, electric, water. They should have some say in that. So maybe that's somewhere where it should step in. Not to like hark back to Ireland, but like when I was in Ireland for my honeymoon years ago, they were gonna like they never paid for water, electric, or heat or gas, right? Like it was just part of their taxes. It was part of it. And they were gonna or childcare. And the year before they had started they had to like pay a portion of childcare, but like most of it was covered. And then that year when we were there, they were gonna start paying for water for the first time or electricity, one of them. And people were losing their ever loving mind. There were protests everywhere we went,
Yeah.
and the government then ended up stepping in and regulating it to an extent. And I don't know if that's the answer or just like a cap, like what's the median income? I think it's a pretty easy formula, right? What's the median income in the state? You set a price, right? Like a percentage of what it should be, and it makes sense. I think that's an easy way to do it. If it's a subsidized thing, you know what I mean? Like capitalism, go for it, all for it, right? But within reason. I think that
Yeah.
the utilities fall in a different spot for me. Like
Right.
everybody should be able to have heat, electric, and
Yeah. I
water.
I mean, I don't even think like even like groceries. I mean, yeah, meat and stuff like that, I think can fluctuate, but I mean, a can of corn on the shelf, if it's gone up, I don't see it coming back down.
I don't think so either.
It
No,
just
everybody can say whatever they want about it. I don't think you can. You know what I mean? I think once something goes there, to
that's
say
that's
to
the
somebody,
price.
yeah, that's the price of where it goes. Like you don't
Yeah.
like gas is different because it's affected by the price of a barrel, right?
Right.
But like a commodity, I don't think you roll things. I don't think it can come back, like so that's why you need to stabilize it, I think. But yeah, that's I whenever people talk about like that as a talking point of like, well, I'm gonna do this and bring it down, it's like, no, you're not.
Right.
The person making it's not gonna be like, okay, yeah, I was making $1 and people were paying it. Let's just
Yeah.
do it for half. I want to make half as much money now.
Yeah, I've got enough money. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Human nature. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would if I was in big corn. I don't know that I'd want to make 50 cents instead of $1, right?
Right. Who wants to?
Yeah. Yep. Like I
I
can
don't
agree with that.
I don't know. We're not gonna figure out tonight, though, that's for sure.
No, no, no. Well, I think we did figure it out. I just don't think anybody's gonna
Right.
take our advice on it.
No. One last thing, I'll let you go. I saw that you won a fair fish.
Oh, 1-3,
You won three.
two left. Don't tell my kid. He still thinks one of them's hiding somewhere in the tank.
My son, on his own, won two.
Yeah.
The one of them lasted a week, but this one is going on 2 months. It's still
Okay.
alive. I
Nice.
wanted I wanted to check in with you on the fair fish and
Yeah.
how.
So we so we got my wife got me to the Perry County Fair for the second time in our 15-year relationship. I try not to venture into Perry County at all. It's kind of like to hearken to like maybe a Susquehanna. It's out there. It's like it's wilderness near us. And we went to the fair and it was very nice and I had a great bison burger. But the whole time Joey wanted to play this. He wanted to win a fish. Now my kid is like scary good at games of chance and anything like we go to Hershey Park, he wins like the big stuff there. Like he just like I don't know if it's luck or he
Who
just has
cares?
like the craziest hand-eye coordination ever, but he wins always, any game. So he wanted to do the fish. I was like trying to avoid it. I was like, let's play the darts. Let's do this. And avoiding the fish thing. I'm just not a goldfish guy. And finally, like he wore me down and I was like, he's not gonna make any of them, right? So we're going over and the lady's like, oh, you should do this. Like she like talks us into a family bucket, big bucket of ping pong. I was like, all right. He starts winging them. First one, first three shots he makes one cup, whatever. And the next shot he makes the other one. And I'm shooting, so they have like this like tower, like where the fish are in, and
Hmm.
then another thing on top of it. There's one single of those little balls, like or little bowls, like on top of that. So I'm joking around because my fantasy football draft's cut up. I'm like, Amanda, take a video of me shooting at this ball and send it to my buddy Pete and say that I'm practicing for our fantasy football draft this weekend, right? I shoot it once, it like hits the ring and goes around. Shoot it the second time, I drain it. So now we win the special fish. So we get this like fancy goldfish, John, that's this big, this size of a softball. And I'm
Yeah.
like looking at this thing and I'm like, it's gonna live forever. It's a carp. It's not a goldfish, it's like a carp. Like this thing's like huge. Um, so I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna put it in your fish tank.
Uh,
I got like after it's, my relaxation in life and my pride is my fish tank. Like like I put a lot of effort into this fish tank. And I'm just like this thing, like goldfish are dirty, they carry diseases.
right.
They're just not like
Can't just add it to the tank.
yeah, I can't, it's from a fair, like it probably has diseases, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Right.
throw it, it kills $1,000 worth of fish,
Right.
for a quarter goldfish. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll set up a tank. So I like go through the attic and this is where my LCD kicks in. So I like that night I was fine with it. I went to the attic, I like pulled out like a little fish tank we had, and I like threw a bunch of shit in it, put a filter on it. We put the fish in it. I'm like, great. It's in his room. He's happy. And then I'm putting him to bed and I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, it's so ugly. And it's like bothering me walking around. And Amanda's like, that thing's like, it doesn't, she's like, that just doesn't look good. I'm like, I know, but it's good enough. These fish are gonna die. And then we wake up the next morning, the fish are still alive, and I'm like, it's a Saturday. I'm like, all right. I'm like, Joey, get in the car. We're going to PetSmart. And I like bought like a really nice fish tank for it. And now he's got a better setup than me in his room. Like, so for these two, he named them so Goldie has passed away. And then we had Goldie, Lumpy, and Grumpy. But he's now since renamed them, and there is Ghostface Gorilla, thanks to Uncle Hirsch. And then there is America. So
Okay.
America and Ghostface Gorilla are still kicking.
So the big one's still alive?
Big one's still alive.
Okay.
And like I don't know, like weirdly friendly. I've never had a fish that like when my kid like goes to tank it like swims up and like gets excited to see him, obviously for food, but like
Right.
it kind of has personality. So when and if it goes, it's gonna be tough. I don't know how I hide that one. The little gold one, it's hiding in the plants.
Right.
You can't find them.
Can't
I
see him.
just
Very
scooped
good.
scooped it and flushed it. But my hope was like, all right, we got this nice setup. These things croak in like 3 days, and I get like real fish for it, and he'll have a nice fish tank. But
Right.
I don't think the big one's ever gonna die, like ever. They live for like 50 years if you take care of them. So I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kid won a couple years ago and it died in a week. So like he won these. I'm like, ah, whatever. Went to the dollar store, just got a small, like small
Mm.
bowl for it.
Yep.
Just put some rocks in the bottom. Um, the one died in a week, and this other one it's probably been 2 months now.
I mean, a goldfish can live in like sewage. That's the problem. That's why they say if it's not really dead, don't flush it because like if they get in the streams and stuff and they get like they'll the what it's in will stunt this growth. Like it only grows as big as what it's in.
Yeah.
But like if you put it in a lake, like they get like 4 feet long.
Yeah.
They're carp, and they're garbage bottom feeder fish, so they pollute everything. They dig everything up, and yeah. So ours is a fancy one, but it's
Yeah.
still a carp. So yeah, we got old Lumpy or whatever its name is it has like lumps on it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
wife dumped it before he had a proper goodbye from my son.
Um,
That didn't go too well.
w- so well, who cares? Amanda's not going to listen this far. So the last time we went to the Perry County Fair, we were still like in an apartment. So it's literally been 10 years or, 12 years since we went there. I won her a goldfish. We weren't even married yet. And she had never had a fish before in her life or like won one at a carnival. So had no concept of me being like, Amanda, like it's gonna die. She fell in love with this fish. Same thing, like we stopped at like a 24-hour Walmart on the way back, got a bowl, yada yada yada. It lived for like a couple months, and then one day we came home and it had jumped out of the bowl and it was just like in the middle of the room, like on the ground, like dried up. And I just like grabbed it and was gonna flush it down the toilet, and she like was shocked that like that's what I was gonna do with that fish. And I was like,
What does she want you to
"What do you want me to do? Like put it in a matchbox and bury it? Like no way." And she's like, "You can't. You have to go bury it." I was like, "I'm not burying a goldfish." You know. I was like, "We live in an apartment complex. There's people everywhere. They're gonna see
Yeah.
me out there digging a hole and burying a little fish. Like no way." And I
That
was like,
Caviston guy's crazy.
"Yeah." Like I was like, "I'll go feed it to the stray cat outside. Like what do you want
Yeah.
me to do?" Like, And so she buried it in the like little flower bed we had outside or whatever. But I was like, I will not be seen burying
Yeah.
a fair fish outside. Like let's just flush it down the toilet. But yeah, hopefully these ones, I mean they're in a really nice tank. They have a filter and everything, so
Yeah.
it should
I
be
didn't
all
go that
right.
far.
Yeah.
I did not go that far, but I'm worried now that
Don't do
he's
it.
well, no, I won't. But I'm worried that he's like feeds this fish every night, and this is like he's always checking on it. So now it's like he's grown attached.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're a Full House guy. Did you watch Full House
Yeah,
growing up?
of course, yeah.
Remember that episode with
I
Little Michelle?
I don't.
So she like wins a fish and it dies, and they go back to the fair and win another one. And Jesse and Joey and all like they're like heartbroken because she gets so upset. So they just buy like 50 goldfish and have them like on standby whenever it dies. They just keep replacing it. So could always just
It's
do
funny.
that.
When I was dating this girl back, this is a long time ago, and she was going on vacation, so I told her I would take care of her fish, and I was changing the water, and it jumped out of my hand and it fell into the stove. And I'm like, fuck. And I
Yeah,
got it out, but like it was like
yeah,
under the burner, like in the stove. Like, holy fuck. Like I'm trying to like impress this girl, like
yeah,
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 I'll take care of your fish. Don't worry about it. I'm good and whatever. Like, holy fuck, this fucking fish.
yeah, yeah. They're it's a don't let them catch the bug. It's not a cheap hobby.
No.
But I had it. My dad always had fish, so I like always loved them. And then when COVID hit and there was nothing else to do, I just cut a giant hole in my wall and put a fish tank in. Amanda cried through most of the process as the drywall. She's like, "You don't know how to do that." I was like, "That's why my dad's here.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know how to do it either.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, or we'll get some spackle. I don't know. We got it."
I have a much deeper appreciation for my parents like growing up. Like I had fish, I had a hamster, and like looking back on all that stuff, like that's fuck. Like, I hope my son doesn't get into any of that shit.
I think the same way. So the same thing. Like, so I don't. You're more of a Wilkes-Barre guy, but are you familiar with Dixon City at all?
Yeah.
So, like if you're coming up from the mall, there's like a little pet store on the corner. Like it's like a little privately owned one. Like
Okay.
right before you get to the drive-in.
Okay.
It's right there. My dad was like friends with that guy when I was growing up. So the guy would let us like trade stuff in. So we had like everything. Like like I had iguanas, I had like all these lizards, like fish, turtles, and like if it would get too big or whatever, like the guy would just take it back and like trade it for other stuff or store credit or whatever. So we had so much. And I like think back now and I'm like, I don't want to be taken care of. Like I had an iguana at one point that was like no without the tail, like 2 feet long,
Yeah.
and like it was just this mean lizard that would bite people, but I like loved it because I was little. And yeah, I don't want to be, we got a dog and I have my fish tank that's more like just like I consider it more like instead of having like a painting hung on the wall, we have a fish tank, but
Right.
um I don't want to be I don't want hamsters, and I had gerbils, they just always had babies, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be dealing with that.
They're pissing the corner of the fucking tank and stuff. It's just
Yep.
like,
They would eat the babies sometimes if you didn't get there in time. Like it was always
yeah, no thanks. Like, God bless my parents. Like,
agreed.
they're
Yeah.
they're better than me.
And
We
none of
even
it ever
talk.
worked.
We have a dog now. I'm just like I'm over. I'm warming up to it.
You warming
Like
up to the dog?
yeah, I didn't want a dog. The kids never said they wanted a dog either. Just like my wife was like one day, like after I said like, should we get a second cat? I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. We can get a second cat because
Yeah,
my other cat died a couple years ago, and somehow we have a puppy.
yeah, dog.
So,
But
but
yeah,
yeah, so
I don't know what life's like. Well, I do because I had a dog. I had a dog my whole life. We always had a dog, and for the years like that we lived in an apartment, like it's my first time without a dog because I had a bulldog right out of college. I like rescued her from a rescue in Long Island, and I had her. And then when I moved down here, we lived in an apartment, so she like stayed with because I was living with my parents before I moved down here, so she stayed with my parents because she was so attached to my brother and sister and everybody. Um, but it like killed like I can't sleep without the dog like somewhere near me or whatever. And so we were in our house for a day. We had moved into the house and like I was like, Amanda, I applied for a dog at a rescue. And she was like, we've been here a day. Could we have like the house for a little while? And I was like, well, let's just go look at the puppy. And if you don't like it, we won't get it. And we got down there and she's like, you think I was gonna come like pet this puppy and have it sit on my lap and we were gonna leave it here? Like, no, so hence Cora 11 years later or whatever she
yeah.
is. So yeah, I love dogs, but I see I can't do cats, so I respect that. I think they don't actually like us, is my take on cats.
No, we'll
They
see.
tolerate us as like they think they're smarter than us.
Well, so my thing is with dogs, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, but like I am not a big fan of things that are needy and stupid. And I feel like you could be
They
the
are. That's
hottest
exactly
girl in
what
the world, and if you are needy and dumb or dumb,
fair.
forget it. Like get out of here. For me, dogs needy and dumb in that like not that they because they can understand commands like sit all that kind of stuff, like but
Yeah.
dumb and like oh I'm gonna eat this trash
Oh, yeah, I eat my own poop.
or
Yeah.
eat yeah I'm gonna eat
Yeah, yeah.
shit I'm gonna eat a
Yeah, yeah.
sock and they have
100%. Yeah.
those things
Yeah,
and they're very neat. They're constantly like like I'm like, just
yeah.
like I'm not. I remember the funniest thing is we were leaving a friend's house 2 weeks prior to us getting a dog. Leaving a friend's house who had a dog, and the dog was in my dick, like
Hold the
on
bag.
like
Yeah.
we're trying to play video games and stuff, like on you. Like we spent the whole 20-minute ride home talking about how that we're not dog people and being okay with that. Like we were both
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
same page. Like just cats are self-sufficient. Like
Yeah.
now we go on vacation and it costs hundreds of dollars because you gotta,
Yeah, with
you
the
know,
dog in the water. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Did you get a boy or a girl dog?
it's a girl.
Okay. So super different experiences having a boy and girl dog. Like our dog Cora is a girl. My dog before that, my bulldog Bella was a girl. Now they're both very different dogs. Cora is neurotic and like she's not like climbing on you and stuff, but she'll just sit there and look at you until you pet her. Like and it's like almost worse because you're just like stop, like get out of my face. You know what I mean? But like me, she'll sit this close to my face, like steal my breath. You know what I mean? Until I pet her. But growing up, my dad only ever had boy dogs and they were very domineering. Like it was always felt like it was a challenge of like who was the actual boss,
Oh, right.
like who was the leader of the pack. You know what I mean? Like with
Right.
those dogs, like they were very like we had great dogs and I loved all of them, but they were they were protective of you. And we also had like big like chow chows and sheep dogs, things like that, that wanted to be the boss. When I got my Bella, it was like a whole different world. Like she just wanted to love me and be loved by me and like was submissive. Like not as submissive the right word, but like want like there was never a challenge in the pecking order of like who's the boss. So like I'll never have a male dog again, I don't think. Like and also she doesn't like she doesn't want to piss on everything every time she takes a step, but
Right.
um that's I definitely recommend, which I never would have thought anything of it until having both. That changed my whole perspective.
I heard girl dog's the way to go.
Yeah, they really are.
Dog's good. It's a nice dog.
Yeah.
Very pretty dog. Um, I always make a joke though. It's like she ruins it. Like she'll like I'll pet her and I'll be like, okay, I do kind of like you. I'll pet you. The minute I stop, she's trying to jump on you. I'm like, see, you ruined it. I'm like, You ruined it.
Still a puppy though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like really understand. Like,
2 years.
you're a puppy. Yeah. Well,
2 year
2 years is
mark.
a long fucking time, dude.
They change. Well, is she so the spayed yet? Spayed yet?
Not yet.
Changes a lot
October.
then too. Calms down a lot then too.
Yeah.
But at
I-
the 2 year mark, like and it gets better just as they grow up, right? It's not a
Sure.
baby,
Of
but
course.
at like the 2 year mark is like when we really saw a change with Cora. Like she just like chilled out like a lot, and now she's like furniture at this point.
Right.
Just she kind of just like at 12, she's just like Joey's pillow,
Yeah.
like hangs out, you know.
I'll never forget that the dog started like chewing on the carpet between when the kitchen tile met the carpet in the living room, and I fucking lost it. Like I'm like, what the fuck? My wife's like, I didn't think they'd do that. I'm like, what the fuck did you think they were gonna do? Like, I'm like, and I'm so I've never told my wife no. I've
Yeah,
never told her no. Like I'm very like, I mean, she's not like a dog is not like gonna end the world, right? But I just I've never told her no, and I was like, this is the moment I should have said no, and like,
this was one.
or at least like explain like why this might not be a great idea because she had no idea. She
Yeah,
had no clue about how hard this was going to be and like the potty training and all that shit.
yep. Once you get them trained,
Yeah,
you're all right. It just takes a little while.
yeah,
There's I don't know. I like to say there's all this intrinsic value beyond it, but really you're just covered in hair
yeah,
and walking something and feeding it every day for the next decade plus.
yeah.
So
So
like so, last thing before we go, but so I have a buddy who they're just not dog people in any way, shape, or form. And but he like loves our dog and we talk all the time. And he like sent me a message the other day about like dog food that came out and like it said like it could extend the dog's life like longer or whatever. And he was like, "What does this mean?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like he's like, "How long?" Like he's like, "How long do you want a dog?" I was just like, "I don't know, man. They live for like 10 or 15 years." He's like, "What?"
yeah,
I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I thought they lived for like 40 years." I was like, "No." I was
no,
like, "If you fed that food to the dog, maybe it would be." I was like, "He's still only making it to 15." He was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "People like love their dogs." I was
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I get it, man." And he's like, "And they only live for like 10 years?" I was like, "7 if it's a big dog." Like, I
yeah,
was like, "I don't know what to tell you." He's like, "A bit." He's like, "What? Like a Great Dane?" I was like, "Yeah, 5, 6 years, man. Then they just like explode." Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's what happens to big dogs. And he like could not, because he's just like his world isn't dogs. Like, he's never had one in his whole life. Family was like not dog people, and he just like could not wrap his head around the fact and a dog didn't like live as long as a person. Like you
yeah.
didn't have it your whole life. He's like, I can't believe that. And I was like, all right, well, don't get one because I don't think you could handle it.
Right.
But, yeah. So
Well, my computer's gonna die.
cool.
We could go all night, I'm sure. But
Okay. Good.
Joe Caviston,
John.
Electric City Music Conference, September 12th, 13th, 14th.
Yep.
Exciting weekend in Scranton.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for spending some time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
It's
for
always a
sure.
pleasure to talk to you.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Adios.
All right, later.